Sometimes it's too much to comprehend. Well, today we're going to talk about being in a crowd. After the intro, let's get it.
You have one life. You got a calling and a purpose. Welcome to the Witness to Power podcast, the show that encourages and inspires you to be who God has called you to be. I'm your host and digital evangelist, Ashley Sims.
What's going on, everybody? We're here blessing the Lord. And we're here just enjoying Jesus. And I'd just like to say this. This is episode 498. We got 2 before episode 500. And I just want to celebrate that. And I want to plan for episode 500. Want to make it special. So I appreciate each and every one of you that's been here for the long haul, and those that are new and those that are coming and going. And one thing I have to say, that there are many podcasts, many things out here. I'm like one of thousands. And now, since it's grown very popular to have your show and everything like that, and now video podcasts becoming a thing, and us from the old school to the audio podcast, I just thank God because there's so many out there. And I just want to set this up by saying I am one amongst a crowd of individuals out here. And I haven't been one to promote my podcast or this podcast heavily. It's been word of mouth. And to be here this long and to be here striving amongst the crowd of podcasts out here, amongst the crowd of folks, and to just stay strong in God and continue to do this thing, because it's about the message of God. It's about giving people an encouraging word every week when I'm able to do it, as God gives me the strength to do it for this long. And I've seen podcasts come and go. I've seen guys who took their podcast to the top and bragged about it for years, and now they're changing their name of their podcast. They're changing the show. They're closing it down, starting a new one. And that says a lot, the enduring of this thing. And one thing about being in the midst of a crowd and standing out, and us as Christians, we have this unique gift that God has given us. And once we use it to the glory of God, we begin to stand out from the midst of a crowd. And I know most of us, if not all of us, have been in a crowded place. And have you ever been in a place when it's so loud you can't even comprehend what's going on? Somebody may be talking to you. You're trying to keep your voices low, and people around you are raising their voice and talking their voice, and you can't hear yourself think. A crowd is a large number of people that's gathering together closely together. Like you're all trying to get somewhere, or we all here. We could be in a crowded room. We could be in a space where we're trying to get into a building or something. It just like almost seems like chaos when it comes in there. You're like, oh man, I got to go here. You've been on the interstate. It's crowded because it's stopped. And you're like, man, I need to get here. But because it's oppressed, because normally it's flowing. But today we are gathered together. You could be together in a good space. It could seem like a bad thing. It just depends on the mindset you are that day. And sometimes the crowd can be in your mind. You have so many things going on, and that's what I want to talk about. It's so loud in your mind, you can't even focus on the thing that God has placed in your heart to do, because you're thinking about this, you're thinking about that, and it's getting your attention off what it should be on at the time. I know I do this sometimes. I'll start something, I'll be working on it, and days go by, I'm doing a good thing, and then something else comes in and it takes the space instead of continuing and finishing what I'm doing. And that seems to override what I'm doing. So we have to be mindful of where we are, what we're doing, and what we're focusing on, because something can easily grab our attention. And when it's so crowded in our minds, and it's so crowded in what we're doing, And we can't see where we're going because we're trying to override the noise that's in our minds or override the space of the things that's constantly coming at us. And so we have to focus on the Lord and focus on what's going forth. And like I said, this podcast, I've seen a lot come and go. And 2 episodes from now, we're going to do episode 500 and celebrate, because this is no small feat in a space of people who promote heavily, who are very well known, who been around for a minute. They have things that they do where people know who they are. But as we continue to go and grow, and I notice people have been finding us in the midst of all the people they can go to and listen to. And that's why I am so blessed that God sent who he needed to send to us, to me, and to this podcast. I know being in this podcast, starting this podcast, I said this many a times. I've been watching the space and so tempted to change the name of the podcast, so tempted to do many things so that I can stand out and be heard and known. But I always had to lean back and say, why did God give me this vision to do this? It's so easy to let the loud space and the noise to shut you down and shut what God has called you to do and to do what everybody else is doing. So in our life, when we're coming across the thing that God has called us to do, we can't let the people shut us down. People's other ideas that's not God ideas shut us down. And it be so noisy in our space that we can't think. It's like being in that restaurant. You're trying to talk to the person you're with and the noise gets louder and louder and you cannot comprehend each other. You either have to raise your voice or come closer. And I like the better of coming closer so that we can begin to talk more instead of trying to raise our voice above the noise. Or you leave the space or you get out the space. You do what you need to do so that you can communicate what you need to do. And as we go forth amongst what we're doing, what we are doing, what God has called you to do, it seems so crowded. It seems like, who's going to hear me? What, how am I going to do this? There's so much I got going on in my life, Lord. How do I go forth in what you called me to do? And you have to hear the voice of the Lord amongst all the things you got going on. You got to focus on Jesus so that we can do what he's called us to do and not like the crowd to press us and to cause us to go negative and cause us to join forces with people that are not going the same way we're going. They may be doing a good thing. They may be doing something and you decide to help them and you put your stuff to the side and you feel like, oh man, I'm crowded with so many things. And when you should have said no and go forth in God, the thing God has called you to do. And that's what we have to do. It is so easy to go do this new thing that seems so simple, seems so easy and can get you to where you need to go right now. And God has put you on another path that he's blazing for you and I. Oh, you do this little thing, this is going to happen. Oh, do this is going to happen. It is too easy today to get the shiny object syndrome, the new thing going to take you where you go. It's so tempting to get off the path that God has put you on and this new thing come up. Oh, if you do this, press these 2 buttons, this is going to happen. It's just so much technology, so much and everything. But you got to focus on the mission at hand that God has given us to do, no matter what it is. Each one of us has one. But when you're in a crowd, it's so many things, so much noise. Some things are good. It's just a distraction. And you have to settle that and focus on the voice of the Lord. Casting those things that exalt itself before God in your life. And I want to talk about 2 people. You got blind Bartimaeus and a woman with the issue of blood. And in Mark 10, 46 through 52, and it starts like this. Verse 46 says, and they came to Jericho, and he went out of Jericho with his disciples And a great number of people, blind Bartimaeus, the son of Timaeus, sat on the highway side begging. And when he heard that it was Jesus of Nazareth, he began to cry out and say, Jesus, thou son of David, have mercy on me. See, when he heard it was Jesus of Nazareth, so he specifically heard it was a Savior coming. He heard Jesus, the one that can heal the sick, the one that can raise the dead, the one that can cast out devils. He knew this Jesus is the Son of God. He knew about that. When he heard, he knew he was the one that can heal his issue. And so the next verse says, many charged him that he should hold his peace. And see, many people come to us. We have ideas. We're talking about the Lord. We're doing great things. And they say, hold your peace. It's not your time. This is not for you. God didn't call you to do that because of you have this, you like that, you this. And that's what people try to do. That to silence you, the crowd. And they get people together to silence you from what God has called you to do. But guess what Bartimaeus did? But he cried the more a great deal. He got louder. Thou son of David, have mercy on me. And it says in verse 49, Jesus stood still and commanded him to be called. And they called the blind man, saying unto him, be of good comfort, rise, he calleth thee. Listen to this. First they were silencing him, and then Jesus spoke, and they're saying, be of good comfort, rise, he calleth thee. And he, casting away his garment, rose and came to Jesus. That's what we have to think about. When we call on the Lord and he calls us forth, it's time for us to come closer to him, not be excited because he called us. Now come closer to him so we can ask him and he can do what he needs to do in our life. And Jesus answered him and said unto him, what will thou I should do unto thee? The blind man said unto him, Lord, that I may receive my sight. And Jesus said unto him, go thy way, thy faith hath made thee whole. And immediately he received his sight and followed Jesus in the way. See, Bartimaeus was in a crowd of folk. Jesus was coming in, and he heard that the Lord was coming. He had knew something about Jesus. We know something about God. We know something about Jesus. We know something about the Holy Spirit. But sometimes when we hear the word of the Lord come into our hearts through the Holy Spirit, we don't react. We don't call out. We just sit in awe like, oh man, God is talking to me. Yes, he is by your spirit, but he's commanding us to go forth and do. But we see a crowd of folks say, somebody's already doing that. I'm not going in that space. Man, let somebody else do it. I'm this and I'm that. But we cry out to the Lord and say, Lord, help my unbelief. Lord, help me to see. Lord, help me to walk this thing out. Because sometimes that's what we have to do. We have to have faith. And I know that God, once he called you and pulled you out of the crowd, of the midst of the people, singled you out and said, I want you to do this. Ashley, I want you to do this. Tony, Kim, Pamela, whatever your name is, he's saying, I want you to do this, because he's hearing you crying out in your spirit. He's hearing you because you're silent. You're saying, wow, because he hears your spirit that's groaning the things that you can't utter because you're tormented on the inside, or you're worried about many things, or you're not moving because you feel like you're stuck. You feel like you're in a crowded space and don't know how to get out. But your spirit man cries out to the Lord or more. Or the fear comes in and says, be quiet, sit down. You're not able to do it. But your spirit man is crying more. Jesus, help me. Jesus, I feel stuck. Jesus, I need you. Jesus, my job. Jesus, my family. Jesus, my wife. Jesus, my kid. Jesus, Jesus. Your spirit man is crying out from your heart. It's so crowded in your mind, but your spirit man is crowded in Jesus, because he heard Jesus is here. Your spirit man know that Jesus is here. It's just your physical being. You just looking at everything around you, not going the way you feel it should go. But your spirit man is crying out when you pray. You're just, that little grunt you make, that frustration you feel, your spirit man is crying out to God, Jesus. And your flesh saying, be quiet. He's done enough for you. He's not going to do any more for you. You should be happy with what you have. It's a shame that you want more for Jesus. That's what your flesh is telling you. That's what fear is telling you. That's what the enemy is telling you. You have enough. It's okay. It's not. Jesus is Lord. He's a God of more than enough. He's a God that loves you, and he's on your side. Don't let the world silence you. Don't let your flesh silence you. Don't let the enemy silence you. Don't let the crowded space be a deterrence for you to walk in God. Mark 5:24-31. And Jesus went with him, and he was in Jairus that came to him before this part. But I want to talk about the lady with the issue of blood. And Jesus went to him, and much people follow him. So here's the crowd of people following Jesus. And they thronged him. And there was the press. You know, there was a press of people. There was a lot of people there. And a certain woman, which had an issue of blood 12 years, and suffered many things of many physicians, and spent all that she had, and was nothing better. And she didn't get better, but rather grew worse. When she had heard of Jesus, came in the press behind and touched his garment. We often hear this, the press, and that's what happens when you're seen crowded and you're trying to get to somewhere. And if you've been in a crowded space, like an event or something, and you're trying to catch up with a family member, a friend, or you're trying to get to your seat, you have to navigate through these things because everybody's trying to go somewhere. Everybody's trying to everywhere, but you're trying to get where you're trying to go. They're trying to get where they're trying to go. And sometimes the colliding of individuals in the one space causes it to be hard and oppressed. But she pressed her way because she heard that was Jesus, and she knew that he could do this thing by faith because she heard about Jesus. And you've heard about Jesus, and you know Jesus, and you're telling your family member, this Jesus can heal you. This Jesus can pull you out. This Jesus can give you the power to do what you need to do. And somehow the press has called you like, man, I can't go there. It's just too much. I'm overwhelmed. I have anxiety. All this stuff around me is pressing at my mind. I cannot think and pray. But Jesus, your spirit man is crying out to Jesus and telling you, go to Jesus. So she touched his clothes, and she was made whole. And straightway the fountain of her blood was dried up, and she felt in her body that she was healed of the plague. Jesus immediately, knowing in him that virtue had gone out of him, turned in about the whole press and said, who touched my clothes? And if you think about this, is funny. You think about this, a lot of people around here, because the disciple says that. And the disciple said unto him, thou seest the multitude thronging thee, and sayest thou who touched me? Listen, this is, if you look at this, and if you've ever been in a crowd of folks, there's a lot of people, and you're trying not to be touched, but they're bumping. And Jesus goes, who touched me? And the disciples like, what? And just think about this. All these multitude of people in the crowd, in the midst of this crowd, she touched Jesus by faith because he felt virtue come out to him. And he told her that faith had made thee whole. You didn't do anything wrong. It's because you sought out Jesus. And that's what we have to do. When we're caught up in the midst of our mind, in a crowded space of our mind, of activities we have to do, we have to stop and go after Jesus and focus on the Lord and let the Lord direct our steps. So as I bring this forth, I want you to say to yourself, I heard about Jesus. I'm calling on Jesus. Jesus is here. And by faith, I'm going to touch him. And by faith, I'm going to come to him. And by faith, things gonna change in my life. He's gonna make me whole. He's gonna show me a path. He's gonna clear my mind of many distractions so I can walk the path that he's called me to do. Because Jesus is here. He's gonna clear up your mind. He's gonna clear the things that's going around you so that you can get back on the path of sharing his word so more people can hear in the crowd and they can cry out to Jesus more. They can cry out and be saved. So being in the midst of a crowd, when you are in a crowd, remember, God is still where you are. You just got to call out unto him. And he's going to call out unto you and bring you closer to him. And we'll draw closer to him. But you cannot let the excess stop you and the press stop you and the people stop you and life stop you from doing what God has called you to do and being who God has called you to be. Let's get to Jesus. Let's get other people out the crowd so they can come to Jesus. Let's not silence your voice because people say, be quiet. You are embarrassing me. Be quiet. He's too busy for you. Be quiet. You're not the one. You are the one. Jesus is looking for you. Jesus is looking for the people around you. Jesus wants all of us because he died for each and every one of us so that we could have a voice, so we can begin to tell other people about Jesus. And so when he enters in the room spiritually, the people can recognize and call out unto him and say, Jesus, thou son of David, have mercy on me. Or they can touch Jesus and says, he through the midst of the crowd and say, who touched me? And you can say, I did, Lord. I seek you because I am in need of prayer. I am in need of healing. I am in need of my child. I'm in need of my family, my mom, my dad. All these people need you, Lord. I don't know how to reach them. But you reach out to Jesus first. And he's going to give you the power and the ability to walk it out. So as I bring this thing to a conclusion, I thank God for each and every one of you. And like I said before, this is episode 498. And it was a press in a crowded space to create this podcast and doing this many years. And the temptation to just shift gears and do what's popular. But I know that Jesus is Lord. I know talking about Jesus is not the popular thing, but I know the right person is going to hear whichever episode the Lord put in my heart to say and the things I'm going to say, and it may change them, and it will change them and affect them for the good. That's what I'm looking for. Getting out of the crowd by doing what God said do and calling on Jesus more. And each and every one of you do the same. Call on Jesus. Talk about Jesus. Talk about God. Talk about his word so somebody can hear that's in the midst and they can call out Jesus, or they can go and touch his hem or his garment, or they can kneel in prayer and be saved. You may not even know that happened, but because they heard you talking about the Lord, they sought the Lord and he answered them. We'll talk again. Reach one, reach many. Be blessed. Until next time, have an awesome week. Thanks again for listening to an episode of Witness Power Podcast. I appreciate each and every one of you. Share this podcast with your mother, your father, sister, your brother, your cousin, your husband, your wife, on social media. Share it with the world. Let them know we're here, blessing the Lord, and let people know it is awesome to be saved, and it's motivating, inspiring, and encouraging others to do the same, that to call out on Jesus, that Jesus is still Lord in the midst of what's going on across the world. And don't forget to get a copy of my book, Purposely Married. You can get it at purposelymarried.com, and you can get it on Amazon to support. We'll talk again. Peace.
Have you ever felt that you've not lived up to your full potential? Or maybe you felt that you have no idea what you truly want out of life, but you feel you can do more than what you're doing now? Then I have the book for you. 21 Steps to Walk in Purpose, to help you shake off the stagnation and fogginess into doing your purpose. Go to walkinpurposenow.com. Yes, that's walkinpurposenow.com and grab your copy today and walk in the purpose that you know is designed for you. Remember, I believe in you. So go and grab your copy of 21 Steps to Walk in Purpose and live the purpose that I know you have within you to live.
Thanks again for listening to another episode of the Witness to Power Podcast. Don't forget to check us out at www.witnesstopowerpodcast.com. And also subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. And be sure to check out the Witness to Power fan page on Facebook. Have a great week.